On this half of our show, we're here with Christine VandenDries. Did I say that right?
You did.
So we haven't met before. You've been here about a year.
Just over, yes.
And your job is what?
I'm the home care administrator, so I run the home health and home support departments. I have managers.
2 hats.
Yeah, I have managers in each department that report to me, and they manage the staff and the day-to-day operations. So I do mostly like the business, finance, marketing, PR type stuff for the home health and home support department.
How did you get into this?
Well,
it's one of those careers that you think, what path takes one there?
I'm a registered nurse, and I started working at Virginia Hospital Center when I graduated, and I had a phenomenal mentor there named Lori Crum, and she was managing and kept getting departments put on top of her schedule and asked for some help, and I reached out and said I could do something to help.
Sure.
Because that's my person. I'm always like, sure, I'll do it, why not? And she asked me to do nursing schedules for the staff. I had been working as a nurse for 6 months, and I just loved doing it. I started interviewing people for positions and helping her out. And so over the years, I just kept seeking out opportunities like that. And about 3 years ago, I became a director of nursing for a hospice organization in Georgia where I was living at the time, and just kept growing my career. I was a director of nursing there. I was an assistant patient care director in a hospital once the hospice closed. And then when I moved on from there, I went to a clinical manager role in home health. So the next progression usually from clinical manager is to administrator.
Interesting.
And then the fun twist of this is after about 6 months of working here, I was on a phone call for the home health department for all of Erickson, and they announced that they have a new home health administrator up at Riderwood, and her name is Lori Crum. So the person that used to manage me and I now work together.
World.
I was so excited. She was an amazing mentor, and she's
That's
doing incredible
wonderful.
things at Riderwood. So it was really neat to kind of like have that full circle moment. So.
It's a whole career field that people don't know about.
Yeah.
You know, we know we have nurses and aides and that, but there's a whole field of people who help this happen.
Yes, and the administrator role, depending on where you work, sometimes is a clinical person, other times it's not. When I was a hospice DON, our administrator was not clinical, and she, although a great person, lacked some of the clinical understanding I think you need to make financial decisions. So I think the thing that I am most proud of in what I do is when the nurses come to me and they want to do something that sometimes might be expensive, you know, with a patient, a wound care treatment or whatever, they come back to me and say, here, this is the evidence as to why I want to do this. This is the clinical information, and I'm able to understand that on a real level.
Not just, oh, this costs too much.
Right, and so I can say, okay, based on the fact that this dressing is, you know, $75, but the healing could be this. I mean, we're going to reduce the length of stay that they have, and, you know, have to do less visits, so we can kind of balance it out. So I think that having the nursing background helps a lot. Plus the staff, they know that I've been in their shoes and I've had to do what they're doing.
That's a big difference.
So, and I've gone out to homes and done visits occasionally when needed. So, and I still love patient care. It's just I love this part too.
That's good. You found a good spot.
I did.
We're glad you're here.
I love it here. So
the difference between, once again, I always like to bring this up. The difference between home health and home support is what?
So certified home health is a benefit you receive under your Medicare or private insurance, Medicare replacement plan, Erickson Advantage. It is generally at no cost to you or a very small copay if you're through a private insurance company. Still, it's home health nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. It's, like I said, paid for through Medicare. There's no like reimbursement that has to be done, and it's ordered by your physician and delivered in your home. Generally, the criteria is that you be homebound. Here at Green Spring, homebound is a little different than if you were living off campus in a personal home.
I've known people to be in that status, and in order to receive that care and have Medicare pay for it, you have to. It's not like you're home from school and say, Mom, I don't feel good. You really have to be in your home being cared for.
You do for the most part, but because we have dining here, and we have the beauty shop, we have the church, they're still able to get out of their home and for some of those things now.
But probably not going to the movie theater.
You know what? It's actually based on the frequency and duration of the activity you're performing and what happens to you after you get home. So if I have, let's say the talent show, let's say that my husband is performing in the talent show and I'm a resident here and he's excited and he wants me to be there, I can go to the talent show and I can watch it.
Well, that's good.
It's a one-time event.
Right.
It's for maybe 2 hours, but then after I get home, I need to take a 4-hour nap. I'm still completely homebound.
Okay.
That rest
And
period
that's really
required.
the key.
Yeah.
So that's home health.
And then home support, we do have nurses, but no therapists.
Okay.
And we are mostly based on our aides and caregivers. We provide hands-on care and support in your home for bathing, dressing, any kind of grooming. We do pet care, escort services.
That's an interesting one that I think a lot of people don't know about, that you do. Pet care
we do,
is
especially
possible.
If you are recovering from a hospital stay, especially I always like to say like an orthopedic one where you can't get out and walk even just to the door to let them go.
Right.
Our staff, we have some that are not afraid of dogs and can come help you with that. We do medication reminders, and our nurses can pre-fill your medication pill planners like a week or 2 at a time.
That's good.
And then our aides can come help remind you to take it, or if you're able to do it each day, but maybe your dexterity is not good enough to put all the pills in.
And there are different levels of care and different levels of pricing according to what kind of care. I know I think for the medication management and that kind of a thing, it's like for a portion of an hour that you pay for?
Yes. So we recently went to that 2-hour minimum back in June, and that was an Erickson-wide initiative. It wasn't just Green Springs. So
but tell us the reason for that. There was very good reasoning behind that.
There is. So they did a lot of research and interviews with staff and residents too, as I recall, before I came here. But they found that most cases that were even just for the basic personal care, getting up, getting a shower, getting dressed, took more than 50 minutes. And so when
you're not as strong as you'd like to be, you don't realize how slowly you're going to need to move.
And you don't want to hurry someone through that process. And also, I think the thing that's most special about this company is the personal connections that we make. We're greeting, we're talking, we're engaging with each other. And so 50 minutes of personal care doesn't leave any time for any kind of like pleasantries at all. And it's not to say that you have to sit and have a whole conversation, but it gives you time to be able to interact and have that personal connection.
Which is part of the care also.
It really is. I mean, especially for someone who's stuck at home and doesn't get out to get a lot of social interaction. Now, granted, the idea is not that you're paying for social interaction, but anybody that comes into my home, I at least want to have a passing conversation and not feel rushed through my care.
Right.
So they moved to this 2-hour minimum for that purpose, and also for the purposes of scheduling. When you're scheduling 1-hour cases, it's moving
around really fast.
You would not believe how quick some of these aides have to run across campus and then run back and
Yes,
grab
I've seen
schedules.
them in the halls.
Oh my goodness, I feel like they all need scooters. But it's a lot for the scheduling purposes too. So this allows them to actually take the time to provide thoughtful and conscientious care and still see, the residents in a timely fashion and not be running 5 minutes from here to Oak Hill.
So that falls under personal daily living. And what I'm looking at here, I'm going to hold this up. This is a flyer that was, I guess it was handed out recently, or I picked up someplace, but this is a flyer that explains all of our home support services here that I'm sure is available in our lobby areas or from your office.
We have them out front
if
of our
you have
office.
questions. It's very, very complete. And the other thing I was looking at here, so we were talking about assistance with daily living, that's 2-hour increments. And then we have another section called companionship and general household help. That's also 2-hour minimum. And different from that is wheelchair escort.
Correct.
So when we went to this 2-hour change, I heard quite a few people say, oh, I don't need 2 hours, if you need escort service, that can be scheduled for a shorter period of time for someone to help you go someplace.
Right. So if you're just going from your apartment to dining or from your apartment to a medical center appointment, there's no minimum on that. We can take you where you need to be. Now, if you need someone to stay with you and wait and have you return, that's fine too.
Sure.
Occasionally, we might, if you're going to be in the dining facility for an hour with your friends, we might schedule them to go do another escort, come back, get you.
Oh, that's good that can be done.
They try as often as they can.
So you're not paying for them to sit in the lobby.
As often as we can.
That's good. And then the other group here is, excuse me, companionship and general household help with laundry and ironing, light housekeeping, menu planning, just sitting down and playing cards and talking, packing and unpacking, which can be very helpful. and just walking around campus.
Yes.
Just a little companionship.
We have a lot of residents in Garden Ridge who are maybe in AL or memory care, and who maybe have recently moved from IL and are so used to being active and walking and moving, but now maybe they're having some cognitive issues and they're in memory care. But those pieces of them, that part that was an avid walker or whatever. So some of our home support staff go over there once a day.
I had never thought
and
about
walk
that.
with them, just to make sure that they're staying safe, that they're staying where they need to be, so that the AL staff
if I
knows.
were in Garden Ridge and would just wanted to have somebody to talk to a little bit, that I could hire someone to
Absolutely, take you for a
That's
walk.
really good to know.
Especially if some people, it's a dissatisfier just to walk around Garden Ridge.
Sure.
They want to get out and do the walk that they did before.
Yeah.
So we have aides that go in and do that entire walk with them for
That's
an
terrific.
hour or two, and provide personal care, get them tucked in, and then leave for the day.
And the most important, that we're really short of time, but the most important thing that we want to remind people is that when we use our staff from our own home support and our own home health services, that these people have complete background checks, criminal investigations, drug screening. They're being supervised. When you hire somebody from the outside, you don't have any idea. And if that person doesn't work for a service, you have the responsibility for their scheduling, for workers' compensation, insurance, payroll, taxes, liability. With using the Green Springs staff, and you have a very large one, these are all checked out. Everything's taken care of for us.
Yes, they are checked out
Making
just
it easy.
as all of our Green Springs staff is. And like I said, we have multiple managers. So if there's an issue, you call us, call me, and we can work with you to figure out a new staff member that you might need.
Yeah, we want to tell people, don't hesitate to call.
Absolutely. If I don't know that there's something wrong, I can't fix it.
There you go. We hear that from all of our Green Springs staff so often. If you don't tell us, we can't fix it. Thank you for joining us today.
You're so welcome. Thank you
Lots
for
of
having
good
me.
information.